यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्णसमाज्ञया यो धर्मस्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्। कालिन्दी फुल्लकमले माधवेन क्रीडारता ब्रह्मानन्द नमस्तुभ्यं सद्गुरो लोकनायक। योगानन्दः प्रेमानन्दश्चान्ये वै ये च पार्षदाः रामकृष्णगतप्राणाः सर्वांस्तान् प्रणमाम्यहम्। Sometime in May 1901, Swamiji was visiting Dhaka, and there he had a severe attack of asthma. He was hugging a pillow to his chest, unable to breathe, and he himself tells he thought that was the end. He rested his head on his pillow and he was watching to see how the life would go. But from inside, he heard this so hum spontaneously come out, and very soon he recovered. But when he was in the fit of that asthma attack, and even those who were around him thought maybe this is the end, he made a comment, a remark, as if to himself. He said, "What does it matter? I have given them enough for 1500 years. What does it matter? I have given them enough for 1500 years. What does it matter? Evidently, it is with reference to his life's mission, which his Guru Sri Ramakrishna had given him, and which was the spiritual evolution of mankind. So he knew he had set in motion a machinery, a thought flow, a current of feelings and thoughts across India and in the West, which would slowly but surely uplift mankind in its journey towards divinity. So he said, what does it matter? I have achieved that now. The second point is very important to note. He says, I have given them enough for 1500 years. What this means is that it will take us generations and generations, centuries, to fully work out all the ideas that Swamiji has given us. This is the point we should keep in mind. I have given them enough for 1500 years. So generation after generation of devotees and sadhus will have to work out his ideas, apply it to the society of their own times. This is the challenge Swamiji has given us. Swamiji's message is rooted in Vedanta, that is the Upanishads, and therefore it will continue to inspire individuals and societies for next 1500 years. After that, Swamiji himself said, a new wave, something more suitable to that time will come. The same divinity will manifest again and give a message suitable for those times. And until then, Swamiji's message will resonate across this world, helping individuals to realize their divinity and their oneness with this world. This is going to happen, and Swamiji says, I have seen this happening. So that again means each one of us, we have this responsibility. We who call ourselves admirers and followers of Thakurma Swamiji, we have this responsibility to engage with their ideas every day. Our predecessors, they interpreted it and they lived it out. Now it is our turn to be guided by their interpretation, but to also take it upon ourselves the responsibility to interpret it as it suits the modern needs. The keynote of Swamiji's message is evident. It is religious awakening of India. Because Swamiji said religion is the backbone of India. If you take care of the backbone, everything else will be set right. That was his repeated message. It is the life breath of India, religion. So he gave a clear picture of how and why India had degenerated. Graphic description, neglect of the masses, oppression of the masses, ill treatment of women. So like this he pointed out a number of causes, and he told the remedy is not in removing all these causes, but in strengthening our nerve current, our backbone, our life current, that is religion. So Swamiji declares, we can become great if only we begin to work in right earnest on behalf of our religion. And whenever Swamiji talks about religion, it is the essence of religion, spirituality, practical Vedanta that he refers to. Because there is a difference of heaven and earth between what we understand, commonly understand by the term religion, and what spirituality stands for. Now this religious revival or spiritual revolution or evolution that Swamiji wanted has two dimensions to it. The first is to awaken the divinity within us. Each one of us, we have this challenge to awaken our divinity. Awaken our divinity means to awaken to the divinity. I am now aware of, and I work with, and I am conscious of my body, my mind and ego. Divinity is that pure awareness behind this, and all the spiritual sadhanas are to discover that source, my true nature, my Nijaswarupa. And this, our Ramakrishna order tells us, can and should be done by the harmonious practice of Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. Sri Ramakrishna did not like one-sidedness, so we practice all the four yogas. Of course, each one of us will have a natural bent, an inclination towards one or two of these yogas. That is left to our independent individual capabilities and aptitudes. And the Ramakrishna order itself has this Jnana Mishrita Bhakti as its path. This is the first aspect of the religious revival that Swamiji wanted. The second aspect is very interesting and to the point of this talk, which is to serve the Virat. Virat is this manifest universe. So Swamiji says, serve all those around you. And he declares, the first gods we have to worship are our own countrymen. If you think worshipping your Shiva or whichever form of God in the temple is the highest form of worship, you are mistaken. That is only elementary worship. Higher worship is seeing the same God in people around you and worshipping them. And that worship will be in the form of service. Shiva Gnane Jiva Seva is the bhava. So this is the second aspect of religious revival that Swamiji advocated. Another keynote of Swamiji's work was a sense of do it now, a sense of urgency. This is similar to Vyakulata that Sri Ramakrishna often spoke about. It has to be done now, not today, it has to be done now. That's kind of an urgency. And he had that in him. Therefore, in less than 9 years, he was a public figure for just less than 9 years. He finished his work. He packed his work in those 9 years. Superhuman efforts he put, and he achieved his life's mission. And he wanted us to do the same. This in connection with the idea of serving the Virat. How do we serve the Virat? Physical help is one level, intellectual knowledge giving is another level, and the highest is giving spiritual knowledge. This Swamiji explains in his Karma Yoga. So the best service to the Virat, the manifest universe, people around me, men and women, the best service I can give them is to spread, is to give them spiritual knowledge. Therefore, Swamiji says, carry the light and the life of the Vedanta to every door and rouse up the divinity that is hidden within every soul. This was his constant call. You have to go around awakening the same God which is inside you and inside them. Awaken it inside you, awaken it in those around you. This was his call. And for this, Swamiji wanted the youth, because youth are flexible, energetic, daring, full of hope and energy, never say die spirit. So Swamiji had great hope on the youth of India. So he wanted this youth to march from one corner of the earth to the other, preaching and teaching the eternal spiritual truths of Sanatana Dharma. Go from one corner of the earth to the other, preaching, teaching the eternal truths of Sanatana Dharma. This was Swami Vivekananda's call. Interestingly, Swami Brahmanandaji gave Sannyasa Diksha to Swami Yatishwaranandaji, and that night they all had gathered. Yatishwaranandaji writes this. They were all expecting Maharaj will talk something very high about sannyasa, ideals, practices. But that night, Brahmanandaji was in a very high state of mind and in a divine mood. And in that mood, he told Yatishwaranandaji Maharaj, what spiritual practice will you do? Go from door to door and let people listen to the holy name of God. That in itself is a great sadhana. Go from door to door and spread the name of the Lord. That is a great sadhana. You do your japam, you do your meditation, do your bhajans, read your scriptures. Along with that, serve the Virat. And that service, the highest service, is spreading spiritual knowledge. And how will you do that? Brahmanandaji says, go from door to door and let people listen to the holy name of God. That itself is a great sadhana. Then, turning to Swami Sharvanandaji, who was then the head of this center, Madras Center, Raja Maharaj says, these days I very much admire, appreciate the attitude of Sri Ramanujacharya, helping everybody hear the name of God. A great social service, a great form of worshipping the Virat. Now this spreading the name of Bhagavan, the Lord, is part of our culture. And we see that in practices like Nagar Sankirtan, Harikatha, Pravachan in the temples. For centuries we have been doing this. Spread the name of the Lord across the city, across the town, across the village. It is part of our culture. This year, 2022, is the 125th anniversary of Ramakrishna Mission. Swami Vivekananda established it on 1st May 1897 at Calcutta. The meeting was held at Balram Babu's house. So this is the 125th anniversary of that establishment of the Ramakrishna Mission. Simultaneously, it is also the 125th anniversary of the establishment of Sri Ramakrishna Mutt, Chennai. Not formally, but we take Swami Ramakrishnanandaji coming to Madras and settling at Castle Kernan as the beginning of Sri Ramakrishna Mutt. So in that way, this is also the 125th anniversary of Sri Ramakrishna Mutt, Chennai. Then, it is also the 125th anniversary of Swami Vivekanandaji's lectures that he delivered from Colombo to Almora, Lahore. And in Madras, he gave the stirring call to the nation. This is the 125th anniversary of his visit to India. He came in 1897. That was his first return from the West. He went again second time to the West, but when he returned, he went straight to Calcutta. His first return from the West, he came to Colombo, and from there we know it was a royal reception. He finally came to Madras on 6th February 1897. And the whole country was excited. There is one mention, Nishchayananda later, a disciple of Swamiji, he is rushing to see Swami Vivekananda, and he sees the fisherman's colony all lighted up. He is a Marathi. He was working in the British Raj army. he asks them, what is the festival? You have written all these lamps here. And they tell him, don't you know the Jagat Guru has returned? So from king, the Raja of Ramnad and other kings to the fishermen, everyone was excited and they were eager to welcome this hero, the patriot saint of India. That was 125 years ago. This is the anniversary of that occasion. And Swamiji stayed for 9 days at Castle Karnan. Now it is called Vivekananda Illam on the Marina Beach Road. And every year we celebrate these 9 days as Navaratri. This year too we will be celebrating it. How can we, as admirers and devotees of Swamiji, help in spreading the message of Vedanta? We have seen he wanted us to go door to door, spread the message of Vedanta. Our publications, lectures like this, and satsangs, prayers, festivals in our temples, and small functions conducted across the city, these are all efforts to spread the message of Vedanta. But today we are living in the digital world where people sit at home and are in touch with the whole world. So we also have to get into the digital world, which we are doing in our own way. The Ramakrishna Order, almost every center has its own website, and we are also able to come out with some social media content which is spread on the social media platforms. So one way admirers of Swamiji, devotees of Swamiji, Thakurma Swamiji, can help in this 125th anniversary celebration is to spread their message. And this can be done in many ways. We can individually or in small groups reach out to all the households in our own road and adjacent 2 roads. If each devotee does this, so many new people will come to know about the message, the Vedantic message of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sharda Devi and Swami Vivekananda. I have benefited from it, and it should be my responsibility to introduce it to my neighbors. So can we not buy some books? We have new publications for this 125th anniversary, highly subsidized. The lectures that Swami Vivekananda delivered in Madras, they have been published both in Tamil and in English and highly subsidized. Can we not buy those books? Or maybe some small pocket books? We have so many of them. Reach out to our neighbors in our road, next road on both the sides. Just introduce them to the message of Vedanta. This need not be done immediately when the COVID is there, but we are talking about a whole year's celebration. And we can invite these people to the mutt. Many times it is seen people are hesitant to come because they don't know whether they will be asked about their caste or community, as it is done in other places. But those who come once, they know this is a universal temple. Anyone can come and sit and pray to the Lord. So we can invite our friends, our relatives, our neighbors to visit the mutt once in this year of 125th anniversary celebration. We can conduct satsangs in their homes. It is already been done by many devotees, but if every devotee takes this up, in this 125th anniversary year, we will together or individually or devotees from our locality, we will take it upon ourselves to conduct such satsangs, maybe 125 satsangs across our locality, in the city or in the villages. That will be one real effort to spread the name of the Lord. And now we are familiar with these social media platforms, how every day we receive so many messages, wonderful messages, some of them, and some of them false, and some of them of not good quality. But we have gems in the literature of Ramakrishna Vivekananda Vedanta. So one thing we could do is to type out small messages, Vani of Thakurma Swamiji or direct disciples, and share it every morning with our friends and relatives. If each devotee, admirer of Swamiji does this and shares it with all his contacts, every day that message will go out. And we never know that it may transform someone's life. It has that power. It is a voice without form. There is this example of Anna Hazare, the well-known social activist. He was writing his suicide letter sitting in a train at the Delhi railway station. And accidentally he happened to see a small booklet in that bookshop on the platform. He went and purchased it. It was a small booklet containing the quotes of Swami Vivekananda. In that he read one famous quote which Swami Vivekananda wrote in 1895 from America to the Maharaja of Mysore, the Wadayar, where he wrote, "My noble prince, they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive." They alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. This one sentence changed his life. He decided, I wanted to commit suicide. Okay, this moment onwards, I die to myself, but I live for my village. That was a tremendous decision. I live for my village. From now, I am dead to my own personal comforts and needs. Selfishness is dead. And we know he revolutionized. He transformed that village. And there was a movement some years ago when the whole country was supporting him. Now, one statement of Swamiji can change a life. There are so many people who have been touched by it. And as admirers and devotees, all we can do is be benefited first and simultaneously reach out this Amrita Ganga to all the people we know, friends and relatives. So we can type out these messages, quotes, or we can take a photo snap of that and share it on WhatsApp, our Facebook or Telegram, whatever social media apps we have, we can share it. There is one more activity which can be done, which requires a little more serious participation, and it probably will require a coming together of at least 2 or 3 people. This is creating one Vivekananda reading club. There are so many admirers who really respect and even worship Swami Vivekananda, but have not found time to read his literature. Even close devotees, they have not found time to read Swami Vivekananda. Books have been purchased even at discount on Tithi Puja days and kept in the showcase. So starting one Vivekananda reading club will be a way forward. How this can be done? It can be done like this. People can be invited to join this Vivekananda reading room or reading club. And once they join, let us say 50 people join, they can be divided into 5 groups of 10 each. And every morning, the one who is running this, who is coordinating this, he should select portions from the text which will take 15 minutes to read at a normal speed, and ask all these members to read that portion for that day for 15 minutes. That's the point. Every day, 15 minutes, you will read Vivekananda literature. And as this is the 125th anniversary of his talks here in Madras, Colombo to Almora, we can begin with that book, From Colombo to Almora. It is available in almost all languages. We can ask the group members to read the selected portion just for 15 minutes, and whoever is heading this, conducting it, he or she should send out one question in the morning related to that section, not like a school question, what is the name, where did it go, not to find out the facts. It should be an open question which provokes the readers to think, but somehow connected with the text or matter read for that 15 minutes that day. So early morning, if we send out this 15 minutes worth or content, which will take 15 minutes to read, with a question, and ask the readers to answer that before they go to bed. A kind of commitment is brought into this. Otherwise, they may think they will read and they may have read maybe 5 minutes. But if they have to answer that question, they have to read the whole thing and they have to answer it before going to bed that night. So every day, they get into the habit of reading for 15 minutes. And this is a very powerful thing. One of our senior Swamis, he used to tell us, if you wish to master anything, practice it for 15 minutes every day and in 3 years you will be a master in it. There is a great psychological truth behind this. So we could do this. Request our friends, our relatives, or just send out a general message. 3 or 4 of us come together and we say, we are having a reading club. Please join us. And every day, just 15 minutes, anytime from morning 6 o'clock to your going to bed at 10 p.m. Between that, so many hours you have, 15 minutes you keep for reading Vivekananda. And we read together. Every day, the content is given to you and a question is sent to you. You will just send back your reply, whatever is the social media platform that is being used. And once a week, or when that first lecture is over, the coordinator can invite a Swami or someone who is well read in Swamiji literature and ask for a discussion of that talk, of that lecture of Swami Vivekananda. This way, within this year, we will be able to finish Colombo to Almora. At least that challenge we should take up. And then, when we read each of these lectures, it is not simply to understand what Swamiji said, because whatever Swamiji said, it has a practical purpose, a practical end to it. He was not theoretical. Practical Vedanta was his message. So he never leaves us empty-handed. He always gives us some task. We come back with a to-do task. So that lecture, every lecture will have that. It is only our duty, our effort to find out what is it that Swamiji is asking us to do in this lecture. If we can identify that and work it out in our lives and help others to work it out, that will be the spiritual regeneration of Sanatana Dharma. And that will be spreading Swamiji's message across this world. So let these words of Swami Vivekananda keep ringing in our ears. Off with laziness. Spread, spread. Run like fire to all places. Let us use the power of social media to run like fire and spread Swamiji's message across the world. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.